cocksuckers, pederasts! I hope you all enjoy the show. Yes, I do.
Hello everyone, welcome to Joe Consume Cinema. I'm your host, 3 for 3, and today we have House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 4. So this season has, a fantastic start. First 3 episodes have been fire. The third episode focused mostly on Rhaenyra, the trappings of rule and, how difficult it can be. It's difficult even during peacetime, and they're still very much at war. Rhaenyra got reminded of that fact by, the whole ruse by the High Towers where they gave Daemon a fake Daron, and found out at the very end of the episode, realized that ruse bought them just enough time to take Tumbleton, a small village or like town west of King's Landing. It's on a pretty important road. We're definitely going to be hearing more about it. But yeah, they're now occupying that small town, and the war is very much not over. Last episode was brilliant in how it built tension throughout it. All the problems that Rhaenyra has to deal with, the fact that their treasury has been robbed, the fact that, food supplies are very low. You've got all these people, coming to her with, all these different problems. She's going through, her own psychological hangups. Her son died, like, less than 24 hours before she took King's Landing was Jace's death. And she just, like, kind of put that on the back burner and then all of a sudden, is queen again. So, yeah, there's a lot to go through, and there's a ton going on right now. It's not easy. You got, like, her small council. I mean, Daemon just wants to go off and conquer. Corlys has his own beef with Rhaenyra, justifiably so in my opinion. She won't recognize Adam and Alan because they're bastards, and she doesn't want the whispers about, her younger son, Joffrey, who we're probably going to see this episode or the next one. He's currently in the Vale, but is being brought back to King's Landing. He's the heir apparent, so he has to go through the whole process that his brothers did. Mysaria is, like, the only one that she's, like, vibing with for the most part. Like, they're more or less on the same page. Like, she's actually taking her suggestions. There was that whole thing with, the merchants and, the upper class, how they basically stole all the food and hoarded everything. So yeah, Rhaenyra is making moves, not afraid to step on some toes, and the reminder at the end of the episode that the war is far from over. That's going to be the main concern going forward, but she's got all these other problems she's got to deal with at the same time. Like, ruling is not easy, and that episode really hammered home that point. But yeah, I'm eager to get to this one. We should, we might get a battle with Tumbleton. We might get Rhaenys in the Vale, who, is in possession of Sheepstealer. I think Rhaenyra sent Daemon off to go, deal with that. Also, we have Aemond, who, got stabbed and is currently in the care of Alice Rivers. You never know what she's going to do to him. There's a ton going on, and yeah, I'm very eager to get to it, so let's just get right to it. Okay, small changes to the tapestry. We saw the rat at the end there, and it looked like Corlys talking to someone. I think this is Tumbleton. That's Hugh's wife.
You three, in this one.
Our home is it's already crowded.
There's 15,000 of us. You glad you only got 3?
You don't like it, go and carp to Lord Ormond. See what good it does you.
Well, this is not good.
Our people know only trade. We never thought to see war.
So you swore to her out of fear?
We swore because she is the queen.
Or is she a bitch with a dragon?
I will ensure that my men remain on their best behavior.
When dealing with those beneath you, you must be fair but firm.
That's the real Daron. He has Alicent's hair.
If Vhagar does not come, our defenses will not hold.
Why seize Tumbleton? It's no stronghold, it's a market town. He dares me to rain fire down on a seat that raised my banner. And the realm would name me Maegor Returned. They'd rise up against me.
Maegor the Cruel. Yeah.
Prince Daemon's river host marches on King's Landing.
We march on the town and root out the High Towers house to house. For as long as you remain loyal and useful, you may take your place at my council and retain the title of Grand Maester.
That's surprising.
Relics of a dead regime.
Okay, that's why there are no orbs in Game of Thrones.
God's this council spin.
Name a master of coin. The people will soon discover are lacking resources. They can blame him.
doesn't really solve any problem.
Investigate Sir Torrin Manderley.
Seeing now what came of our other sons. Perhaps sending Darren away was my truest act of motherhood.
You know I would have spared him.
He has a sensitivity to odors. Ormond. A very strong one.
Can she use that? Quick reminder to like, comment, share, subscribe. Also consider signing up for my Patreon. For $1 per month, you get access to all my exclusive reactions, also a guaranteed movie request. With that, let's get right back to the reaction.
My son shall attend her in my stead. You certainly look the part.
I am not a creature of the court. I don't know what I'm doing.
I cannot give you legitimacy, but I can give you the chance to better yourself.
Alan serving as, like, surrogate hand? Will she accept that or be insulted? Rhaenyra doesn't have a hand right now. It's a weird situation. Sunfire.
He's alive. He must be.
There, Gregor.
He's dead.
No. Will you stay and rot with him?
This is Vagar's doing. So they're approaching Harrenhal.
Are you lost?
When he learned that Rhaenyra took King's Landing, he and his dragon
When
fled.
Rhaenyra took King's Landing?
Oh my. Oh, you didn't know.
There is sign of a large dragon nest. It has been abandoned.
Kind of screws up their plan. So she still has him in her possession, 100%.
Aegon is dead. Our queens are both in chains. And we are here, alone. We have the enemy just where we want them.
Aemon would not desert me.
And yet he's not here.
Keep the river scum from reaching King's Landing. Give Ormond time to swell his ranks.
Their army is 10 times our size.
20.
Their plan is to try and delay the Rivermen at best, because, like he said, they're 20 times their size. Viserys' sculptures. Oh, of course there are rats in it.
Lord Corlys has ridden out by the Dragon Gate to hunt the Triarchy raiders that plague our trade.
He has able men who could lead that campaign.
A fight is perhaps what he needs.
Gods, they are incessant.
On board ship, we kept cats.
It's a start. First look at Rook's Rest.
I won't touch the fucking tree.
Just do as I say.
At this point, Aegon just wishes he was dead.
Come on.
Jesus.
Hightower loyalists trying to fight a war they lost.
That's not good.
He has returned!
Oh, look. A dragon rider is about to get stupid shit-faced.
Drinks for everyone!
You said your men were honorable. This one has sinned.
He is loyal to Rhaenyra, but he struck me.
This man went to ravish my sister and then broke my wife's arm when she tried to stop him.
Your punishment will fit your crime. You will be gelded.
My lord, I have a wife.
How much control do the High Towers exert over the faith?
The Seven are as intrinsic to the High Tower fabric as, well, dragons are to House Targaryen. But control, I think not.
Here we are in the Eyrie.
I am most delighted to return, my lady. And who could ever fail to be charmed by your warmth?
He was looking at the moon door right then.
You had your dragon, yet we have no men.
I should send babes. Prince Joffrey's dragon was years away from being large enough to defend the Vale.
Yeah, it was an insult more than actually keeping the deal.
A gift of gold would offer you the benefit of my speedy departure.
You did!
I think he senses sheep stealer. Cave for a dragon.
Reveal yourself!
Oh, that's cool.
What have you done to yourself? Rhaenyra believes this dragon and his rider are the reason. Jace is dead.
I wanted only to help. To show her, to show you. I never intended to.
Jade Erin knows you are here. You were meant to accompany my sons to Pentos.
They are well attended. They will be safe.
If you go now, to where you are meant to be, Rhaenyra need not know. We will find a ship. Leave the dragon behind.
I will not leave him.
He's not like the others, Rhaena. He is wild. He cannot be trusted.
He is mine. A Targaryen without a dragon. Disregarded. Can you yourself say you ever gave me more than a passing thought? Rhaena the unfortunate.
We will tell her it was a mistake.
How can I ever stand before her again?
She will hunt you down. Is hunting now. You asked me to deceive her. That is betrayal.
I have asked you nothing.
Rhaena. Rhaena!
It's a tough position for him to be in. Don't tell the queen? You know, it's betrayal. Holy shit. Sooner or later, she's gonna find out on her own. It's not like you can hide a dragon.
You belong now to the crown. Should something befall you, I suffer the loss of a dragon, and the unity of the realm is threatened. No, you shall frequent taverns no longer.
What?
Oh, God.
Queen of Bastards. The work, I am sure, of some of your misguided subjects.
Can you send word to Sir Luther? Have his gold cloaks look for any seditious markings on the streets of this city and find those responsible.
Kiss my feet.
They're trying to get the audience to feel bad for Aegon, but I just don't. It's covered in shit, too.
I bring justice. I also bring gold.
What is this?
The one who rode Sheep Stealer.
Okay, this is his scheme. It makes... I think he killed the sheep herder guy.
Our soldiers need to be paid and more recruited besides, else there will be bedlam.
Crown ignores their anguish.
Has anyone considered a tax?
Clear the room. Who is he? And how did he come to claim a wild dragon? What of Sheep Stealer?
Fled. Riderless.
I wanted to look on the one who killed my son.
To punish him yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Crown will honor its dead. A little longer.
Yeah, the gold helps, but it doesn't solve the problem permanently.
I should thank you.
Daemon's ruse worked here, but if she ever discovers the truth, she's gonna feel betrayed and even angrier than she was.
She'll return to her senses.
Whose head is that?
She don't fully buy it. Is she pregnant?
Helena.
Is that Hugh? Yep.
Open your doors by order of the Queen! Who did this? Gentlemen, we're trying to stay in the house! I haven't done anything! Please!
It won't be long before we can fly again.
I have warned you against indulging in affection for that beast. I've raised you in the light of the Seven, and the Father smiles upon you. But there is a taint in your blood. The Targaryens are a savage race. With dark spells, they created abominations to subdue what was rightly ours. We are the superior men. But against that, your brothers are lost, but you remain a high tower. You must be king. Victory will be ours. It is the will of the gods.
I thought you let him go.
A righteous king must demonstrate he upholds many virtues.
He only acted when our man attacked a woman.
He laid hands on a high tower.
Oh boy.
No, please. I beg you, my lord.
And now we begin.
Jesus. Okay, took some time just to gather my thoughts. Episode 4, really good one too. Ton has happened with this one. So, the whole thing with Tumbleton, initially Rhaenyra plans to send the Rivermen to, clear out the High Tower infestation, as it were. We saw in the beginning of the episode, the High Towers were garrisoning 3 men per, domicile, and not a good experience for, the people of Tumbleton. They're just civilians and, traders, and all of a sudden these soldiers are just, foisted upon them, and there's almost a rape. We saw how, the soldier got punished by getting gelded, but then at the end there, the person who was just defending his sister, who actually is Hugh the Hammer's wife's brother, that's the guy who got killed at the end of the episode by Darren, and he was forced to do it by Ormond. So Ormond is an interesting character. Like, this guy is very much an Andal supremacist in the same way that Daemon is a Targaryen supremacist. Like, they're basically two sides of the same coin, just, different factions. Ormond believes that, if it wasn't for the Targaryens and their dragons, who, he thinks only came about because, they're demons, they're, darkness manifests, basically, and his people are all about, the light and all that, and you see that his actions totally, belie that argument or just position that he has. It's nonsense. He's a monster. The guy's just a nightmare walking. Just he thinks because he's, religious that it's an excuse and he's justified in what he's doing. He's as bad as any, the worst aspects of Daemon, this guy totally has it, just, different flavor of it. But the whole thing with Tumbleton, Rhaenyra's initial plan to send the Rivermen to clear it out, gets messed up because Kristen Cole and his forces arrive at Harrenhal. They see that, Aemond isn't there. Alice Rivers still has him somewhere, in like a closet somewhere. And rather than, give up upon learning that Rhaenyra has taken the throne and that Otto's dead, they decide to harass the Rivermen forces, who outnumber them, 20-1. They can't fight them in a fair fight, so it sounds like they're just going to do ambush tactics again and again and again to frustrate them and wear them out and slow them down. The best they can do is just delay them from getting where they're being sent. But that leaves Tumbleton, pretty much dealing with, the High Tower infestation, and we saw Hugh the Hammer arrive there, but he's just kind of like keeping guard, keeping watch. He's not taking any action as of yet. Rhaenyra is slowly building, a new small council. We saw that Corlys refused order to come back to his queen. He's taking some men and going to clear out what's left of the pirates that, got ashore from all their destroyed ships. They're like sacking villages along the coast and they need to be dealt with. He sends Alan in his stead, and the queen, kind of to my surprise, is not insulted by that. Like, she actually lets him sit and takes a little bit of advice from him. The whole rat situation, constant ongoing problem. He says, well, on ships we just, keep cats. So that might be a situation, possible solution going forward. We saw that Torrin Manderley has been named Master of Coin, but he gets named Master of Coin just in the position as someone to be blamed. So much is going wrong right now. It seems like prices are out of control because, trade hasn't been properly reestablished, so, there's scarcity and it drives up prices. He's the figurehead that can be blamed for, all the consternation that's happening among the small folk. Maester Orwyle is getting to keep his old position. Rhaenyra trusts him enough, even though he did serve the Greens. Daemon returns. He goes to the Vale and treats with Lady Jean Arryn. Doesn't get men, but gets gold. A little bit of gold to help the whole treasury situation. His dragon, starts acting funny, and all of a sudden takes him to a cave, and there, sure enough, is Sheepstealer and Rhaena. She can't really control her dragon, that's why Jace died, and it puts him in this awkward position where he doesn't want to give up, his child, but he doesn't want to lie to the queen because it's going to get them both killed. So he comes up with this clever ruse. He sees, like, a sheep herder down below after she, runs off, and it's the first time where, he's actually done something for his daughter in, like, her entire life. Like, he's one of the worst father figures in terms of, like, absenteeism. Like, he's not actively mean or, hurting them. He's just like, he keeps them away. He doesn't think about them. And it's a situation where these people have grown up and, like, they're complete strangers. So he doesn't want to betray her and, see her dead or anything like that. But at the same time, he's got to come up with some solution that will appease, the whole problem of this loose dragon that's just wandering around, and who's the rider that, attacked Jace and, caused his death. So this poor sheep herder, unfortunately fills the position. Daemon cuts off his head, the dragon, burns it up so it's unrecognizable, and then he presents that to Rhaenyra saying, I've avenged Jace. Take this for what it's worth and, hopefully let it go. Now, it's interesting, Mysaria doesn't quite buy it. She's like, whose head does that belong to? She can tell, sort of, I think, when he's telling a lie. The ruse is not going to hold up for too long, I think, and when Rhaenyra finds out, it's going to be betrayal all around, and she's going to be more angry than we've seen her these past few episodes. The whole thing with Aegon and Larys, they visited Sunfire's body. He's convinced the dragon is still alive, but it didn't move, and it's been there for weeks, months now, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's dead. It's very clear that they're trying to get us to feel, pity for Aegon, what he's going through. King burned, his dragon dead. He's humiliated. He has to, there's that one scene where he has to kiss that guy's boot, and it's covered in shit, and I just don't feel any pity for that guy whatsoever. He was a monster, and anyone that thinks that, at any point he should have ever been king, like, you're smoking crack, honestly. But yeah, we saw Rook's Rest for the first time in the show. It's a pretty important keep. Also saw Tumbleton for the first time. Got their first shot of the Vale since, like, Season 2. We're going, like, all over the map this episode. There's a ton going on, ton of moving parts. There was a small little moment between Alicent and Helena, and she's pregnant with a child. Guessing that's Aegon's. Yeah, that's going to be a huge problem. They're probably going to keep that under wraps for as long as they can, but, just the mother glancing at the daughter, she recognized, like, breasts are bigger, stomach is, growing. It's going to be hard to keep that a secret for too long. And if it's a male, it's just another threat that Rhaenyra has to deal with. And she's been merciful up to now, but, some misfortune in the war, a bad day, and she might get wrathful and, take it out on the child or Helena, or, it's all this stuff that's going through Alicent's head, like, oh my god, another problem, we don't need this right now. Small scene with Ulf, he goes back to his old hangout, and, he's like the man of the town now, so he's buying everybody drinks. When he mentions, he goes to this tavern, drinks with these buddies, she's like, oh, you can't be doing that anymore. You're a dragon rider. If, someone were to stab you in a drunken bar fight, we can't lose, your power. You're too important. If you want to drink, you got to do it here in the Red Keep. And it's this situation where this character is slowly learning that, his position is not all it's cracked up to be. He thought it was like total freedom, and it just isn't that. He's a knight, which means, he's a warrior, but he's a servant. He has to do what the queen says, and the queen is telling him, you're on house arrest, basically. So, his whole situation is he's slowly learning that it just isn't what he thought it was, and he's starting to regret it more and more. So, yeah, they're slowly planting seeds for stuff that's going to happen later on. Also, the whole thing with the graffiti and Rhaenyra's overreaction to it, where, she sends the gold cloaks to go beat up basically innocent people who had nothing to do with it. It was probably a better move to just ignore it and, quietly paint over it and, not address the issue. Instead, now the small folk are going to have this outcry of, oh, the queen beats up random strangers for no reason, all this stuff. The queen is persecuting us, all this. And it's just something that should have just let it go, but, her paranoia and the whole bastard point is very sensitive, hitting a nerve, and, she just overreacted to it and is going to make the problem worse. But yeah, there's a ton in the works. They're slowly planting seeds that are going to grow, very quickly. And another really good episode, not as good as 1, 2, and 3, but those were just fantastic. This episode is more like, moving the different pieces upon the board, getting acquainted with new characters, or first time really seeing Darren for the first time. For the most part, you get the sense that, he's basically a good kid, but the people that have direct influence over him, like Ormond specifically, are monsters, so yeah, he's slowly going to get turned more and more into something he definitely does not want to become. It was interesting, that whole conversation between Alicent and Rhaenyra about how she's grateful that she managed to get her son Darren away from King's Landing and, away from her, thinking that, it probably would make a better person of him. And then we see scenes like that where he's forced to execute an innocent man who did nothing. And yeah, it's not good all around, but, introduced to these new players, moving the pieces along the board, slowly progressing the story and setting things up for the future. good episode overall. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for now. So as always, thanks for watching and peace.